The ERC heads to Sweden this week for the Royal Rally of Scandinavia, and the old WRC stages around Karlstad will be providing all kinds of different action, including a very interesting entry list. And I think we start with the entry list because there are very few drivers who competed in the first round who have come across to do this one. Perhaps a little bit unsurprising, given that, lots of these drivers were Spanish nationals who were competing in the Spanish National Championship. But, yeah, the first seeded entry is Teemu Salonen. Elsewhere, point scorers in the first one who are returning for this one include the likes of Andrea Mabellini, who is the 5th seed, William Crichton, who is the 6th seed, and I think possibly a couple of others. But what it means is Miko Marchik, the reigning champion, is the 2nd seed with a new co-driver alongside it, Daniel Demirski. Teemu Salonen, by the way, is Antti Happala as co-driver. The number 3 seed is Martin Sesks with Renars Francis alongside. And that is between WRC appearances because I think we expect to see him when WRC returns to Europe, but I don't think he's on the entry list for Japan. Faz Aldevar is next, then is Mavellini, there's Crichton, then is Jack Batulka, followed by Duka Kolpanen, who is aboard a Lancia Ypsilon this season, Tristan Charpentier, and Simone Tempestini for the first 10. After that, it is Isaac Rierson, Pierre Rag, Kalle Karlberg, who is behind the wheel of a GR Yaris. JC Resteknik is going to be running a Fabia for Adam Gran. And then we have Gabor Nemet in the Fabia as well. After that, we have Benjamin Kohala, we have Robert Kolchak, we have Philip Allen, and last year's winner, Ivan Brynildsen. Then you have Frank Tore Larsen, who's been competitive in that polo for the last couple of seasons. Mikko Heikkila, Jasper Vaar, Carla Gustafsson, Patrick Hallberg, Tim Lilja Ligren, Yusuf Ralph Nagin, Takumi Matsushita, and Shotaro Goto, who are part of the Toyota GR Yaris Next Gen program. Then we have Brandon Semenuk with Keaton Williams alongside. Semenuk being a multiple-time Rally America champion. Then we get into the Rally 3s. Lucas Zielinski will lead that cohort from Casey J. Coleman, Maximilian Lichtenegger, Callum Graffen, Kian Caldwell, Petr Kaczarek, Ville Vatanen, Igor Vidwak, Jan Pokos, Craig Ryhill, Karim Kazaz, Robert Proudlock, Charlie Tuthill, and that will be that list. A lot of Fiestas as well. It was Zielinski, Lichtenegger, and Kazaz. Interestingly enough, given that he's been JWRC, are all in the Clios. The rest are entered in Ford Fiesta Rally 3s, with 3 of them being Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy drivers. In the ERC4, we have quite a few people who are ERC4 and juniors, but I'll just go through it in terms of ERC4. Atu Hakaleto, Tomaso Sandrin, Timo Schultz, Carl-Peter Nordstrand, Carl McBride, Tom Hendricks, Davide Passavento, Francesco Di Cecchi, Marcus Batakis, Colin Dunker, Marcel Neulinger, Claire Schönborn, who we haven't seen since the JWRC campaign, behind the wheel of a Corsa, Sebastian Della Piccola, Valentino Leda, Arvid Carlson, and Rice Suleiman. The entry list, rounded out by a clear RS line for Ludwig Ziglani, Daniel O'Brien's Fiesta Mark II, Martin Stenberg's Ypsilon Rally 4, and Johanna Brada in a Clio Rally 3, making 62 total entries. Now, as for the stages, it's worth pointing out that for Rally Scandinavia, what they do is they have loops in the morning that are repeating loops of the same stages, and then the same for the afternoon. So instead of it being 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. The shakedown and qualifying test, or the Gusterhult test, I believe is new for this year. It's some kind of familiar roads though. If you've seen any of the classic Rally Sweden stuff and imagine what it is on gravel, that's the kind of stuff you're thinking of. Though these are new roads they're using for the summer edition, I guess you could call it, of this event. They are just to the east of Karlstad. And Friday will have one competitive stage as well in Brottebacken. It is 3.2 kilometers. It opened up last year's edition, and the main difference is there's a little bit of a different arena section at the end of the test. Saturday's morning loop will kick off with Varmskog. There'll be stages 2 and 4. It is familiar for competitors as it was here last year. If you want to run the clock way back, in the 90s and 80s, it was part of Rally Sweden. Well, yeah, all of it was in the 80s, and then by 1990, it was only the second half of the test. So expect slipping and sliding, expect driving around people's houses, that kind of stuff. The other stages in the morning loop will be the likes of the Stenjun test, which is only run once, 19.3 kilometers. It was last in Rally Sweden in 2008, run in an opposite direction. In its current direction, it last appeared in 2000 as the Lang-Johan Storff test. So, again, lots of slip and slide, lots of gravel highways. Think things a bit like Finland, for example. As for the afternoon loop, it will be Gardsjö, which is stages 5 and 7. It's been run in every edition of Royal Rally of Scandinavia, and it is being run exactly the same as it was in 23 and 25. So it'll be familiar for a lot of competitors. And then stages 6 and 8 will be the Collins test, otherwise known as Vargasen. That's right, Collins Crest in the summer. It's a beautiful thing to see. You get to see the arena, you get to see the fans enjoying it. There's just no snow, but still barbecues. The other stage that we will see for the Saturday loop. As for Sunday, the morning loop will start off with Bakelid. That'll be 9 and 11. It appeared in last year's edition for a little bit, as in the final 7 kilometers made up the Royal Forest test, and previously the Lungsund test. So the first 13 kilometers or so is new stages, unless they ran the local circuit, in which case the first 5 will be new, because that middle bit has been used before on a local level. And Gebastorp is a similar kind of story. It is familiar for people who have run Royal Rally of Scandinavia before. The main difference is a 1.2 kilometer blast to the end, or if you were in more recent editions, only about half a kilometer. As for the afternoon loop, Lohodugen is going to be, I've just absolutely butchered that one, so Lovehoiden is an 8.91 kilometer test that is new for this edition, but if you competed in Rally Karlstad or Rally Biltema in the past, it will be quite familiar, as the roads have been used there. It makes up a public road in the S759, so expect to see more kind of gravel highwaysy stuff. Think, say, the Ruuhimäki test in Finland. And the power stage, and also stage 14, will be the Ulma test. Flat out blast that has been the final stage last season, but this time around it's in the opposite direction. So it could be a fun little push to watch at the end of this event. So as for ones to watch, you might want to look at someone like Ivan Brynjolfsson, who is a successful commentator now, alongside being a successful rally driver. I would also keep an eye on the likes of Martin Sesks and Miko Marchek. They can be quite good on these kinds of events and have proven so in the past. As long as they can keep it clean, it should be a good run. Teemu Sundinen could also be a bit of a wild card for this event. So keep an eye out for how Sundinen gets on, especially because he'll be using this as a bit of testing for a Rally Finland bid, which has just been confirmed for later this season with Secto backing, so the title sponsor of the event. Elsewhere, it'll be interesting to see how Mabellini gets on with the Ypsilon on gravel. This is new territory, really, for the Ypsilon, competing at international level on gravel. It only really made its debut with Rally Portugal. So look out for what Mabellini and the likes of Toka Koponen could do. Toka Koponen has come across from using the GR, so it could be a little bit of a difference there as well. And really, there's nobody that you can really rule out, even in a pack of 29 cars. I'm going to be really interested to see how Semenuk gets on, for example. But anyways, folks, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. As always, thank you so much for watching and joining, and until next time, bye for now.